A lot of cases end with the murder. This one, it's just a small piece of the puzzle. None of the things that happen after and none of the things happened before make any sense without knowing the murder happened on a specific day at a specific time. But the evidence in this case, you'll find, is overwhelming. Chandler Halderson killed his parents on July 1st, 2021.
Witnesses say Chandler Halderson went around to his neighbors' houses asking about their Ring cameras on their porches.
A former Madison Police Department detective lives across the street from the Halderson home. He says Chandler Halderson walked up to his door the morning after Bart and Krista were reported missing. He asked if the Ring video doorbell he had would have shown anything happening across the street, or if it caught anyone coming and going from the previous Thursday night into Friday morning.
He doesn't look panicked. That's the first thing the neighbors notice. It's mid-morning on July 7th, 2021, in Windsor, Wisconsin, a suburb about 30 minutes north of Madison. And Chandler Halderson is moving door to door along Oak Springs Circle, wearing a bulky medical neck brace, asking the same question at every house. "Have you seen my parents?" He explains, calmly, that Bart and Krista left days ago with a couple he had never met. They got picked up and driven north to the family cabin for the long July 4th weekend. They never came back. They aren't answering their phones. A worried son, a concerned neighborhood, a missing persons call that looks, on the surface, completely routine. Except, both of the Haldersons' cars are still sitting in the garage. Nobody leaves for a road trip in a stranger's vehicle and leaves their own cars behind. And when police asked Chandler for the couple's names, the names of the people who drove his parents away, he told them he didn't know. He hadn't thought to ask. And then there's one more thing. Something that won't make sense until later. The heavy glass panel on the living room fireplace is completely shattered. From the inside. This story only gets stranger from here, because the entire catastrophe traces back to a fake email from Elon Musk's SpaceX. But the way Chandler Halderson actually got caught is the part nobody could have seen coming. His girlfriend had been secretly tracking his location on Snapchat, not for this investigation, but because she suspected him of cheating. That one screenshot she saved would lead Dane County investigators straight to the truth. The Haldersons were, by any measure, a family people admired. Bart Halderson was 50, managing director at an international accounting firm, methodical and structured, the kind of man who tracked every number in his professional life and expected the same discipline at home. He loved woodworking. He was an involved scouting dad, a man who showed up. Krista Halderson was 53. She worked as a customer service representative for an auto body shop and loved art projects. The people who knew her described the same quality every time: unconditional love for her two sons. Her cousin Barbie Townsend said Krista was a very happy person who poured her whole heart into her family. For Christmas, she and Bart got both boys matching tool sets. They made root beer floats together. They played Mario Kart when Krista felt like it. Their older son Mitchell, 24, had graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and was working at a software development firm. He was engaged to be married. Things were moving for Mitchell. And then there was Chandler, 23, the younger son, still living at home. To everyone looking in from the outside, and this part matters, Chandler was doing exceptionally well. He was, by his own account, one class away from graduating at Madison Area Technical College with an IT degree. He had a paid internship with American Family Insurance. He was an Eagle Scout, ambitious, clean-cut, well-presented. To keep his accountant father convinced the remote internship was real, prosecutors would later argue that Chandler woke up early every morning and staged himself at his desk, pretending to log into meetings, the entire performance engineered to fool a man who was working just down the hall. And then in June of 2021, Chandler dropped news that made the whole family light up. SpaceX had offered him a job in Titusville, Florida, right near Kennedy Space Center. He was moving in just weeks. His parents were overwhelmed with pride. Bart, the man who measured success by results, had a son heading to work for Elon Musk's rocket company. Think about that for a second. If your son told you he just landed a job at SpaceX, would you ask to see the contract first? Or would you just trust him? Leave your answer in the comments. There's a photograph from that Father's Day, June 20th, 11 days before everything ended. Chandler is wearing his neck brace. Mitchell is smiling. Bart is standing between them looking proud. Thursday, July 1st, 2021. That was the last day anyone outside that house saw Bart and Krista Halderson alive. On July 7th, after days of total silence, Chandler walked into the Dane County Sheriff's Office and filed a missing persons report. His story: Bart and Krista had been picked up by a couple he didn't know on the morning of July 2nd and driven to the family cabin in Langlade County, about 3 hours north. They were supposed to return by July 5th. They never came back. He told police he couldn't give them names for the couple. He had just assumed it was someone his parents knew. He hadn't thought to ask. Detectives wrote it down. Then they started pressing. Not one person in the entire Halderson family or social circle had heard anything about this trip. Bart and Krista hadn't mentioned it to Mitchell. They hadn't mentioned it to Krista's close co-worker and friend Daniel Kroninger, who had gone to the house himself on July 2nd when Krista didn't show up to work. Both of the family's vehicles were parked in the garage, keys inside. Bart and Krista's cell phones were still inside the house. And when the details got fuzzy, Chandler blamed his concussion, memory loss from the fall. He couldn't pin down exact times. Sequences blurred. Every time a detective pushed on something specific, the concussion absorbed the question. On July 8th, Mitchell Halderson drove 3 hours north with his fiancée and met law enforcement at the family cabin in Langlade County.
So yeah, I'm Detective Sergeant Grones with Langlade County, Sergeant O'Neill, Deputy Rojas. Deputy Rojas has been out here a little bit yesterday and then this morning as well. This is my first time at this property. I haven't seen anything. One thing that he mentioned that I think would be a good idea is, have you like walked around or anything yet?
Yeah, I did a walk around.
Okay, do you have a key or access?
We were hoping so, but no.
No, okay.
We found a set of keys we were hoping were the right ones, but it doesn't look like it.
Gotcha. If it works for you, I just want to roll my windows up and lock my car, but maybe we could just take a walk around and see. You would know the property probably better than we would.
It's changed a bit since I've been here, but yeah.
Sure.
Together, they searched the entire property. Cobwebs across the doorframe, no tire tracks, no footprints, no sign of life for months. His parents had never been there. While Mitchell was at the cabin, detectives were already following a lead that had just changed everything. Multiple witnesses had reported seeing Chandler near the tree line on a farm in rural Dane County, a property in Cottage Grove, about 20 miles from the Halderson home. Investigators moved to search it. In the woods, under a pile of branches, they found human remains. They did not tell Chandler any of this. That same afternoon, Chandler called Detective Brian Shunk. He told him he'd noticed 4 squad cars parked outside his house and wanted to know if anything had changed. Shunk told him it was just a shift change, nothing to worry about. What Shunk didn't say was that Chandler was no longer a person of interest. He was the prime suspect in a double homicide. Chandler hung up. Then he walked over to a neighbor's house, one he knew had a Ring doorbell camera, and asked the neighbor whether the camera would have captured footage of the road or the Halderson driveway. The neighbor sent the recording of that conversation directly to police.
If you were able to capture the road or my house? Yeah, did it capture anything on?
We don't know. We don't know. They just took a copy of everything, and so we're hoping.
Wide angle lens?
Yeah, and it's all.
Be able to get a
Yeah, and it's all.
That evening, detectives brought Chandler into the Dane County Public Safety Building. Detectives Brian Shunk and William Hendrickson sat him down for what would become a nearly 2-hour recorded interview. Chandler came in wearing a hoodie and a baseball cap. He looked tired. They asked him to walk through every single day from June 30th to July 7th. Every morning, every afternoon, every night, every location, every conversation.
So, Tuesday. I'm doing this part. I got a coffee at a Quick Trip one day. Well, I think that could have been Tuesday morning. Okay. At Quick Trip, I got a coffee. And I used my dad's number at a Quick Trip to get me the free one because it was the Cruise of Gold. Yep. I could have afforded it, but there's a free one and it's Tuesday, or it wasn't Monday. I could have gotten a $1 one, but it was full price, I believe, and I grabbed the coffee because it was a free one. He hasn't used it for weeks, so I grabbed that. Had a quick trip. I couldn't tell you which one. I was just driving at that point.
When you use it's a rewards card is what they call it, right?
Yeah.
You just enter his phone number or
Type
something.
it. You type it.
Okay.
But I got coffee. Had to be, I'm assuming, Tuesday. And I got a free one.
Sweet.
It was terrible.
Oh, it was?
I wanted to try Karuba Gold.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Then we're at Tuesday. Cat's working up, and I'm gaming, job hunt. And then I started trying to get the glass. Because I've been a little lazy on the glass. I just kind of had chairs in front of it. I broom and, you know, a little sweeper holder, you know, you broom it into that.
Dustpan.
Yeah. Tossing the glass into recycling. I get most of it. There's a bunch in the cracks of the stone that I'm picking out by hand. I think I didn't injure myself from that, but just yeah. Just my blood was kind of on the floor, so I got the Swiffer I borrowed from Kat, from the foot. I borrowed a Swiffer to mop. I Swiffered the floor, like not the stone, but the floor. And then I got a little bit in the kitchen, and then everywhere kind of I walked, pretty much. The bathroom, the kitchen, and then I couldn't get the carpet, so I still stained that up, a little crappy.
Where was their carpet at?
The stairs between basement and kitchen.
Carpet. Oh, that's right.
Carpet stays. I tried. I can't get it out. I don't know how to do that, but then all the way up to the laundry room where I found my first aid kit. I just tried to stop all the bleeding, but it wouldn't stop. So.
And that blood was all coming from your left foot.
Yeah, left foot hole.
Left foot hole.
Yeah.
I mean, are we talking massive amounts of blood, or are we talking, a little bit, like describe?
It started as drops until I got to the bathroom. And then I got back to go grab my sock and some of the paper towel. And then I see the glasses in there, so I grab a tweezers and I pull it out, and then it starts squirting out. And I got some on a little bit of the rock. It wasn't that bad of the rock, but I think the worst was that floor, that like it kind of like like this lid puddles.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't good.
Are we talking the floor down in the basement?
Well, that one. And then I go upstairs to the kitchen, and it's still going, and I'm trying to get my foot in the sink just to slow it down and pinch it maybe. And then I waddle upstairs to the IFAC, or the first aid kit. And once I got it kind of bundled up, it stopped for what I know. Then I need to get some tape. We have a tape box in the basement. I go there and I opened it up again. And I bled a little bit more, but the basement was easy to clean. It's just cement. A little bit of water, and I ragged that up. But I grabbed the tape box and I wrapped it. After that's Tuesday.
Yep.
And this is where the story falls apart again. Because by now, his account had shifted. He was no longer saying his parents left for a holiday weekend. He told detectives they had gone to the cabin to deal with a plumbing emergency, and that he helped them pack tools for the repairs before they left. He stumbled through the timeline, correcting himself, asking the detectives which day they were asking about.
As far as up at the cabin, when do you think the last time you were up there?
Personally, last year.
Last year.
Memorial Day, I believe. If it wasn't the weekend before Memorial. I didn't make the parade. I never got to go last year.
When do you think the last time your mom or dad were at the cabin before?
My dad went when my brother was diagnosed with diabetes.
When was that?
The weekend before my concussion, so 1, 2, 3. Not including this week. 3, 4. Yeah, 4. 4 weeks.
Is your
He went up.
brother doing okay? He wasn't born with diabetes then?
No, this was.
Okay.
Like it's the kind you're
You're
born
talking about in
with.
June of this year? Like 3-4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
He went up, noticed our plumbing's gone to crap, and he bought a new set or something at a flea farm or a Home Depot, or it's like a 4-way converter type thing for the plumbing.
Okay.
Something
For the cabin?
Yeah, for the cabin.
It's for like a toilet or?
Yeah, we have a toilet up there actually now.
Nice. Not just an outhouse?
No, there is an outhouse.
Yeah, you want an aspirin?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Advil?
Cool. What did you say?
I got Advil, that work?
Yeah. I was like, I thought you said Adderall.
No, I don't have
No,
that.
not that. Just Advil. Just over the counter stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like 3 of them work?
Yeah. Appreciate it.
You bet. I'm gonna look at it. I'll drop them on there.
Thanks, Tim.
Just say Advil on them, right? You put them on your mouth already? Never mind, there they are.
No, I just got
So the plumbing went to
true
crap.
serum.
No.
Is it
Just
like
Advil.
was it a sink or a toilet or what was it with the plumbing that went bad?
So when we have to pour water in every time we go up to start the pump.
Oh, okay.
So some reason by pouring water in, the water never rose in the toilet bowl apparently. So you couldn't flush it. You know, the water didn't come to the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So he needed a new thing to stop whatever the problem was. I think leaking. I don't know. I didn't hear everything from him.
Sure. How did you find out about that?
He?
Yeah. How did you know that there was a plumbing issue up there?
Well, he went up there just to go see the cabin.
Oh, so when you went up a couple weeks ago, he realized an issue. This time, he wanted to fix it.
Well, he fixed the major issue, so it won't be flooding the house.
Okay.
Or the cabin. Now, he wanted the pipe set to redo it.
Okay.
Because we need new pipes because they're lead. And I think we might be moving to plastic because there's no water heat. We can do plastic.
Yeah.
For nearly 2 hours, he sat there, and then Detective Hendrickson cut him off and told him to listen.
Okay.
We got all the background, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So, I think it's time we start talking about what happened to your parents. Like the truthful version.
Okay.
Okay? So, we have like 20 pages of writing. We're going to start with a clean, white piece of paper for you to start telling the truth.
Okay. What?
Because listen to me. This is the only chance you're going to have to tell us the truth.
Okay.
Okay?
What?
Listen. I can't tell you what we know, but we know you're not telling us the truth. We know your parents are no longer with us. Okay? And we know the reason why. Okay? You need to tell the truth. Listen. You need to tell the truth about what happened and just tell us why it happened. Okay? If something happened, if you were defending yourself or if you just got fed up with stuff, you need to tell us the truth. Okay? This is your chance to tell us why. Okay? I'm not BSing you. Okay? So can we do that?
Okay. You're okay.
Chandler asked for a lawyer. He was placed under arrest immediately. As detectives walked him out, Chandler offered multiple times to tell them everything. He said they didn't know the whole story. Detective Hendrickson responded, "You know what happened. We're not going to tell you what happened. You know what happened. You were there when it happened. Detective Shunk added, We know more than you think we know. Your parents never made it to that cabin. And I think you know that. Chandler said nothing. Neighbors had already given investigators what they needed to connect the timeline. On July 2nd, the same day Chandler claimed his parents were driven north, thick, heavy smoke had been pouring from the Halderson chimney. Dense, black, in the middle of a humid Wisconsin July with temperatures in the 80s. No reason to have a fireplace burning. A neighbor's security camera had captured flickering light coming from a window at the house on the night of July 1st. And Chandler, supposedly bedridden with a concussion severe enough to cause memory loss, had been seen scrubbing floors at odd hours. Prosecutors later presented evidence that he purchased a heavy-duty construction tarp and 20 pounds of ice in the days after July 1st. On the morning of July 2nd, he texted his girlfriend not to come over because he had a lot of chores to do. The fireplace itself was now at the center of everything. The heavy glass panel had shattered outward, not from normal use, not from wear. Forensic experts would later testify it blew out from extreme, sustained, abnormal heat. The kind of heat generated by burning something dense for a prolonged period. Investigators secured a search warrant for the home on Oak Springs Circle. Inside the fireplace ash trap, they pulled out container after container of debris. Over 200 human bone fragments, skull pieces, facial bones, knee bones, a dental crown still fused to the grate. The family room fireplace had been used as a cremation site. Down in the basement, investigators applied forensic light. Under black light, the floor and walls lit up with what forensic analysts testified was evidence of blood, dripping patterns, active splatter, evidence of a deliberate cleanup. Someone had scrubbed hard. But trace chemistry doesn't disappear. Bart and Krista Halderson had not walked out of that house. They had been killed inside it, and someone had spent several days trying to ensure there was nothing left to prove it. How does a 23-year-old with a SpaceX job offer and a future in Florida end up standing over a scene like that? That question is what this entire case is really about. Because everything you just heard about Chandler Halderson's life, every single piece of it, was built from nothing. He wasn't interning at American Family Insurance. Prosecutors argued he had invented the position entirely, fabricating dozens, possibly hundreds, of emails between himself and fictitious contacts at the company, manufacturing a paper trail to explain to his father why no paycheck ever arrived. He wasn't enrolled at Madison Area Technical College. He had failed out over a year earlier and never went back. He was not one class from graduation. He wasn't even in the system. And SpaceX had never sent him a real offer. The acceptance emails, the salary figures, the Titusville relocation package, Chandler wrote all of it himself. He created fake email accounts impersonating fictitious college administrators to construct an ongoing correspondence that kept explaining to Bart why transcripts and enrollment confirmations were always being delayed. For over a year, every single morning, Chandler Halderson woke up in his parents' house and performed the role of a son with a future. While Bart went to work proud of him. While Krista texted him from her desk, "Hope things are going well. Thinking about you." That was the last text Krista Halderson ever sent her son. Chandler's girlfriend, Kat Melander, had no idea any of this was happening. She had been in a relationship with Chandler for 2 years. She was close with his entire family, especially Krista. She believed every word he had ever told her about his life. He was one class from graduation. The internship was real. SpaceX had offered him a career in Florida. She had no reason to question it. But she had been secretly tracking his location on Snapchat for months. Not because of his parents. Because she suspected he had been cheating. Sometime after July 1st, while Chandler's parents were missing and he claimed to be home recovering from his neck injury, she noticed her Snapchat app had placed his phone near the Wisconsin River, at a remote location far from the house. She took a screenshot and saved it. When she mentioned it to Chandler, he told her his phone had been out of service range. She left it alone, until detectives came to speak with her. She gave them her phone. She gave them everything. The screenshot placed Chandler at that remote location near the Wisconsin River, on a day he told police he hadn't left the house. Investigators searched the area. they found Krista Halderson's remains, and the farm in Cottage Grove, where Bart's remains had already been discovered in the woods. That property belonged to Kat's mother, Dulce Melander. Chandler had used his girlfriend's mother's land to bury his father. At trial, Kat took the stand. She told the jury everything Chandler had told her about his life. She testified she had never seen a payslip, never seen a grade report. He had once shown her some code on a computer screen to make it look like he was doing coursework. She had no idea it was all theater.
Just real quick, because it's the first one that we're going to do that looks like this. Your phone was taken by the police and downloaded in the course of this investigation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we're going to try to get the lighting just right, and that might be the trick right there. So in the blue here, that's Chandler, correct?
Correct.
I have a good feeling about SpaceX, and if we're looking at it, the date on these messages is down there. It's also right there, but this one I'll read out loud just because it's a bit hard to see. We're at the 23rd of May of 2020. You say, "I'm proud of you." What does Chandler say there?
Thanks, I hope I get a job.
And you say, "Me too." In general, were you hoping Chandler got this job?
Yes.
Why?
He seemed excited about it. A lot of pay.
A lot of pay? Did Chandler ever tell you how much money he'd be making at SpaceX?
Around 800,000.
800,000?
Sorry, I apologize, 80,000.
80,000? Okay. So after you say, "Me too," we're still on the 23rd, he says, "I'll be happy." And you respond, "I'll be very happy for you too. You'll get the money you want, the job you want," right? You were happy for him.
Correct.
You talked a little bit, and we're going to flip through some of these that maybe aren't super relevant. As we talked about, you texted a lot. But you're talking about the location and the money, and Chandler says, can you read that one for us?
But I'll be happy with money.
And you say maybe they'll transfer you in a couple years. Was there any discussion about that around that time?
Yes.
And what was that discussion about? Maybe transferring or where this job was?
The job was in Florida.
Okay. And that would take you to Florida as well?
Correct.
Okay. Was it your intention to move with Chandler?
Yes.
And on May 24th, he sends you this message. What does it say?
I have a follow-up interview for Florida tomorrow.
And as that kind of approached, on the 25th now of May, you're saying, tell me, kind of in an exaggerated fashion, but just tell me what's going on?
Yes.
And what does Chandler say?
Shoot, sorry, I got the job.
And you say, congratulations. You have a discussion about the job in general, and eventually Chandler, the same day, the 25th, what does he say to you?
I have training next week over the computer, and I leave June 11th and start on June 14th.
Okay. You and Chandler discuss, perhaps, I think you said that you were going to move with him eventually, right?
Correct.
Was it going to be right away, or were you going to wait a couple weeks?
Wait a couple weeks.
Okay. And what does Chandler text you on the 25th?
I'll come back every other weekend, hon.
And what else?
And I can send you money till your lease is up and you move in with me.
Okay. The text messages that day end with Chandler sending you a couple messages. Can you read the first one?
If you're positive you want to be with me for the long run.
Was that in relation to you moving with him?
Yes.
And he says, what last?
Because if you're not, then I don't think you should.
Bart Halderson was an accountant, methodical and suspicious by instinct, and by late June of 2021, the numbers simply were not adding up. No money from the internship, no transcripts from the college. The SpaceX relocation stipend always just a few days out. Every question came back with a new explanation. According to prosecutors, Bart contacted Madison Area Technical College directly. He spoke with enrollment coordinator Omar Job. Chandler had not been attending classes. The administrators his son had supposedly been emailing, they didn't exist. "That'll be it then," Bart said on the recorded call. He texted Chandler, "I spoke to Omar Job." Then he put a meeting on his calendar. July 1st, 2021. Him, Chandler, and college officials. Face to face, no more explanations. That afternoon, around 2 p.m., while working from home, Bart sent his son one final text. "I'm ready whenever you are." It was the last communication Bart Halderson ever sent. Chandler was now moments away from a meeting that would expose 15 months of compounding, documented lies, in front of his father and college staff, with no exit, no announcement to fall back on, no version of the next hour that didn't end with everything collapsing. Prosecutors told the jury that Chandler did not go to that meeting. Instead, while Bart sat at his desk that Thursday afternoon, Chandler retrieved a semi-automatic rifle, a weapon that had been gifted to him by a friend named Andrew Smith, who had met Chandler online while stationed overseas, and shot his father in the back. Twice. Bart Halderson's phone data went dark at approximately 2:33 p.m. 25 minutes later, Chandler sent a message to Krista. "Dad's phone died. Text or call me." Then a second one. "Can you grab soda on the way home?" Krista replied, "Kay, I can," with a smiley emoji. Around 5 p.m., a neighbor's security camera captured Krista's black Volvo pulling into the garage. She had no idea what was waiting for her inside that house. 3 hours later, that same Volvo backed out of the driveway. It stopped at a quick-trip convenience store down the road at 8:24 p.m. Chandler was at the wheel, alone. Over the next 2 days, July 2nd through July 4th, prosecutors say Chandler dismembered both of his parents in the basement using saws later recovered at the scene. He used the living room fireplace to try to destroy what he could. He loaded remains into tarps and drove to separate locations across southern Wisconsin. Bart's remains were taken to Dulce Mellender's farm in Cottage Grove. Krista's remains were transported to state-owned land near the Wisconsin River in Sauk County. Cutting tools recovered from a rusted oil drum at the Cottage Grove property tested positive for DNA from both Bart and Krista on every blade. On July 4th, he turned Krista's phone on. He sent texts from her number to make her seem alive and enjoying the weekend. Hoping this goes through. "I bet there's a lot of people up there." And while he was doing all of this, between the drives, between the cleanup, Chandler was running Google searches on his phone. Investigators pulled his search history the day he was arrested. Wisconsin dismembered body found. Woman's body found in Wisconsin. Body found Wisconsin. Dead body found in Milwaukee River 2021. He was searching for news of his own crimes, while simultaneously knocking on his neighbors' doors asking if anyone had seen his mom and dad. The trial opened in January 2022 in Dane County Circuit Court. Deputy District Attorney William Brown told the jury in opening statements that Chandler had spun an amazing web of lies, fabricating dozens, if not hundreds, of fake emails, fake employees, and fake career milestones to sustain a fiction his accountant father had been slowly unraveling for months.
Like I said in the beginning, a lot of cases end with the murder. This one, it's just a small piece of the puzzle. None of the things that happen after and none of the things happened before make any sense without knowing the murder happened on a specific day at a specific time. But the evidence in this case you'll find is overwhelming. Chandler Halderson killed his parents on July 1st, 2021. He cut up their bodies with axes and saws and knives. And he didn't even give them the dignity of having a funeral, or even a final resting place in one piece or together. Their remains were scattered across Dane County, in public land, on farms, in garbage cans, in the rivers, and perhaps every ditch is a possibility in this county. You'll find the evidence in this case is overwhelming. Now, over the next couple of weeks, I'll make you a couple promises as your prosecutor in this case. I'm not here to waste your time. But of all the constitutional rights we talked about of Chandler, he has them. I want you to respect them. There's another one that you should know, which is this is the only time we get to have this trial. You get one trial in the United States of America, and I have to do it right. So if that means calling a lot of witnesses, I apologize in advance. If it means calling experts to say things that maybe you already know, I apologize in advance. But I'm going to do my job right as your prosecutor.
The jury heard the full 2-hour interrogation recording from July 8th. They watched Chandler stumble through the timeline, shift his story, and sit in silence as Detective Hendrickson told him they knew his parents were gone. Kat Melander testified about what Chandler had told her: the internship, the degree, the SpaceX job in Titusville. She described handing her phone to police and what the Snapchat screenshot showed. Forensic experts walked the jury through the bone fragments in the fireplace, the DNA on every blade in the oil drum, the phone location data placing Chandler at every disposal site, the cell tower records showing both his parents' phones going dark within hours of each other on July 1st. They heard the text thread ending with, "I'm ready whenever you are." They heard the Google searches read aloud in open court. Chandler Halderson sat through all of it without expression. Suit, glasses, blank face. He did not testify. The jury deliberated for roughly 2 hours. Guilty on all 8 counts.
The verdict form on count 1, as signed by the presiding juror and dated today, reads, "We, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as to Bart A. Halderson, as charged in count 1 of the amended information. As to the verdict form for count 2, as signed and dated, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of providing false information about a missing person as to Bart A. Halderson, as charged in count 2 of the amended information. Verdict form for count 3, as signed and dated, reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of mutilating a corpse as to Bart A. Halderson, as charged in count 3 of the amended information. Verdict form for count 4, as signed and dated, reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of hiding a corpse as to Bart A. Halderson, as charged in count 4 of the amended information. The verdict form for count 5, as signed and dated, reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as to Krista R. Halderson, as charged in count 5 of the amended information. The verdict form for count 6, as signed and dated by the foreperson, reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of providing false information about a missing person as to Krista R. Halderson, as charged in count 6 of the amended information. The verdict form as to count 7, as signed and dated, reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of mutilating a corpse as to Krista R. Halderson, as charged in count 7 of the amended information. And finally, the verdict form for count 8, as signed and dated, reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of hiding a corpse as to Krista R. Halderson, as charged in count 8 of the amended information. I will note for the record that the jury also returned the 8 verdict forms that read not guilty, and that those do not bear any signature or date, as well as returning the jury instructions.
On March 17, 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He had petitioned the court to allow him to skip his own sentencing. The judge denied it. When he was brought in, he addressed the courtroom. He asked if any lawyers present would be willing to take on his appeal. He is currently incarcerated at Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. There's something that stays with you long after this case file closes. Most violent crimes have a recognizable shape: money, rage, fear. A history of harm that builds until something finally breaks. Even when the act itself is incomprehensible, there's usually a force behind it the mind can trace. Chandler Halderson had none of that. He wasn't being threatened. He wasn't protecting himself from anything real. Bart and Krista weren't his enemies. They were proud of him. His mother texted him, "Thinking about you," the afternoon she was killed. His father's last words to him were, "I'm ready whenever you are," a message about a college meeting, and he was dead within the hour. Chandler dismantled his entire family to protect a lie about his coursework. Not for a life insurance policy. Not in a moment of blackout rage he couldn't pull back from. According to prosecutors, methodically, deliberately. And then he drove across southern Wisconsin, disposed of what remained of his parents in woods and along a river, ran Google searches about dismembered bodies, and knocked on his neighbors' doors. The image that doesn't leave you isn't the fireplace, or the oil drum, or the interrogation room. It's the Father's Day photo, June 20th, 2021, 11 days before it all ended. Bart standing between his two sons, smiling. Chandler in his neck brace, looking every bit like the son they believed he was. If someone can look at the people who gave him everything, a home, a future, complete and unconditional love, and decide that his embarrassment over failing out of college was worth more than their lives, then the question isn't really about Chandler Halderson. It's about what any person is truly capable of when the secret they've been protecting is about to come out permanently. Do you think Chandler was a narcissist who simply could not face shame, or was something far more calculated operating in him from the very beginning? Leave your theory in the comments, please, and let's discuss. Chandler Halderson built his entire plan on one assumption, that nobody would ever look hard enough. For 6 days, he was right. Then a Snapchat screenshot Kat had saved weeks earlier, for a completely different reason, dismantled everything. That's the margin the whole case turned on. If you're the kind of person who doesn't scroll past when something actually matters, subscribe, and share this one, because Bart and Krista Halderson deserve to be more than a case number.